puts us on. Let's see. Is it gonna work? Are we live? Maybe. I don't
I
know.
think we're live.
Anyways, hi. If this is working again, I'm Reed, joined with JP and Steve. Um, this is episode 12 of Hot Laps of Liberty. Um, anyways, how y'all doing?
We're doing. Been very busy the past couple weeks, and it's actually showing up live on Facebook right now. So we did something
Okay,
right.
we are live. This time we got it right. Cool. So let me share that real quick. Um, so it's not just us three randos talking today. We actually got a couple guests joining us, and no, I'm not one of the guests. I'm not Hardy. I was told I look like Hardy. I'm not the musical guest here. Um,
No, no.
so, anyways, speaking of the guests, let's go ahead and bring them on. We are joined by Wes Willis and Maddux Mullinax. So, I guess let's start with Wes. Just say hi. Tell them a bit about yourself.
This is great, by the way. I think you do look a lot like Hardy. That's fantastic. Also, a WW and an M and an M and an M. Ugh. It's great as well. It's awesome. Yeah, Wes Willis from here in Montgomery, Alabama, and yeah, man, here to talk some racing. A lot of which I don't know about, so you can ask Max about that. I picked his brain over the years a little bit. He and I go way, way back, and his dad as well. So it's good to be here with you guys. Obviously, as you guys know, I'm a huge Liberty Racing Review fan, and just grateful to be a part.
So, Maddox, why don't you tell them a bit about yourself? I mean, we've had you on here before, but
Yeah,
for
second
anybody that
time
maybe
on the
wasn't
show.
watching,
If you haven't seen the first one, I'm a late model driver. Been driving since I was like 13 years old. It doesn't mean much, but I've ran dirt late models basically my whole life. Grew up in it, been around it. I feel like I know racing pretty well, and I am good buds with at least JP, and I feel like I'm buds with everybody on the show at this point. And I'm really good buds with Wes. Yeah, me and Wes go pretty far back, further back than most people think. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for to see what this show's gonna have. I'm excited. What are
so
we
you
even gonna
don't,
talk about? I haven't told anything about the show. Just like, hey, I'm here, and I'm
Welcome
like,
to the
all right.
production
you
meeting
know just as
live.
much as I do,
Oh,
really.
I've seen y'all's production. I know who's running it. All right.
Yeah, you're the one who told us not to have a set sheet and just to go with the flow.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you're
guess
the one that
That's
told
very
us to
true.
just go with the flow.
why'd you listen to me? I got out of broadcasting 8 years ago.
I know.
Well,
Yeah,
you
when
asked
Maddux
us
was a
nicely,
better
so
hockey
we were
player
kind
than
of
a
like,
broadcaster.
Yeah. That ain't saying much, man.
Not a good hockey player.
I have one broadcasting fan. One person who enjoys my broadcasting.
Yes.
is it your mom?
So,
No. JP knows who
Is
it
it
is.
is
It's
it
my
your step
roommate's
grandpa?
grandma.
No.
Is it your step grandfather?
Yeah, well, he can't hear it and he can't see it. So,
Why don't
not
we tell
him.
the Why don't we tell everybody at home who your step grandfather is?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, so my step granddad is Red Farmer. The NASCAR, the racing legend Red. It's hilarious. He can't. Uh, at this point, all conversations with Red has basically became only about racing because he doesn't hear what you say anymore. So he can't conversate with anything that you want to talk about anymore. Instead, it's just him asking about your racing and him telling you how his racing went. That's pretty much what it's gotten to now. But I mean, hell, he's still at the shop every day. He's at the shop more than I am. So
Yeah, every time I see him at the shop, he just looks so confused of why I'm there. I love it.
why the hell are you at my shop?
The last time I was there with you.
You made it sound like you're at my shop more often than you are.
No, but it's the last time I was there.
Oh yeah, no, he will. So here's how Red going to the shop works. He shows up at about 11:30. I work until 3:30, so I'm not there really when he's there. I usually show up when he's leaving, but um, he gets there at the shop at 11:30. My dad and my brother are at the shop, and he has a lunchbox. He will then at exactly 12 o'clock turn on the TV we have to full volume eat his lunch for 15 minutes, pretty much exactly, eat the whole thing, and then tell my dad and my brother what he wants done to the race car by the end of the day, sit in the chair and stare at them until that is done. And that's how working at the shop is done nowadays. I mean, the man's 92 years old, so I don't blame him for doing that, but that's how we get the work done on his car. And then his other grandson, Lee, comes by a lot when he gets off of work and gets a lot of the other work done as well. But yeah, that's if you want an inside day of interacting with Red. And then he goes home, sits on a couch, and watches sports the rest of the day.
I think there's worse people you can
Red
have
just
hanging around
does
the
too
shop.
much.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just
Yeah.
when you're dealing with Red, he is relentless. He will sit there and wait on you and give you puppy eyes until you do what he wants.
He has too much aura.
Yes, he's got way too much. And what are you gonna do? Tell a 92-year-old man no? You can't do that.
Yeah, with 752 feature wins, you have to listen to him too.
At 752 feature wins, and like half of those races are in like backcountry Mississippi against Joe and Pop and or Joe and whatever. Like, let's be real here. My pop had my actual grandfather. My pop had claimed over 600 wins, and I know 500 of those were in Green Valley against two other guys. So
Over under, put a number on the BIR wins between them.
BIR. All right, probably controversial. I'm going to say between the both of them, maybe 250. Because I know most of my Pops wins were at Talladega Short Track and at Green Valley. And I know a lot of Reds wins came from the short track and Montgomery and Nashville. So Red traveled a lot, and he did win the track championships at Talladega a bunch of times, and so did my Pop and at BIR, but they still traveled a lot, and they won races all across the Southeast. It's just what would happen is that both drivers, both my Pop being Jerry Goodwin and Red, they would travel to the races that they knew they would win. They wouldn't travel to the race that they felt like they didn't have a chance in, but they would travel to the race that they knew they would win, and which is why they racked up so many wins, which is brilliant. They funded their racing that way. That's what you had to do to fund your racing. And I mean, Red does have insane career wins over his time and insane endurance for what he's done, and he won all the way up until his into his late 70s. But I always get a good laugh at whenever I hear for almost any driver, whenever I hear the 600 something wins number, and that's with everybody, even Scott Bloomquist. A lot of his wins you're counting a lot of local wins with the National Series wins, and I always feel like it's a little bit of a misleading number.
I mean, it's kind of like the 200 wins Petty got, you know? A lot of those
Well,
are the same basic criteria.
No,
At least some people
all
try
right.
to
So
argue.
it is on a different scale. So Petty's wins. Petty got the 200 wins, and that's the only races he ran. For the most part, were those Cup Series races, and he was extremely dominant in an extremely dominant car. I mean, we're talking about the man who was the premier driver for the only professional racing team of the 1950s in the Cup Series. So, or in the 1950s and 60s. Petty Enterprises was the first ever professional racing team in the United States for the most part. So yeah, like it's same thing, but on a different scale. Now, Petty didn't race as much as Red did. Red raced every day. Petty raced probably 2-3 times a week. So
back, like, loosely on the topic of Red, we had Casey Clark in our comments a second ago saying that, sorry, I almost killed your step grandpa and ended my dirt career, Maddux. Do you know what he's talking about?
I have no idea. I have no idea. What did you do? I gotta know this story. How did you almost kill my step granddad?
I think I remember it. I think They ran into each other somewhere at Fort Payne, or I think it was either Fort Payne or Talladega. He was telling me
It
about
was
it
at
last time
Talladega.
I was
Had to have
talking
been.
to him. Yeah,
Okay.
but Casey, I want to comment to see the full story, so
I
we'll see that
I
pop
would
up
like to see
soon.
that too. I imagine I was there. I remember when Red got in a bad wreck, but it wasn't because he hit somebody else. Um, I'll tell you a story not many people know about, and Wes, you don't know about this either. This happened had to been 15 years ago, but this was, I think, probably the closest Red has ever come to like dying outside of racing. And he was traveling home. You guys know, Wes, to the Reds, his van, the
Mhm.
Alabama gang van that he travels to every one of these races in. And by the way, this van it belongs in a museum. I can't wait. Like one day we're gonna have this thing in a museum. But he's traveling back from Talladega, and little does he know is that there's this fella who's been driving from Tuscaloosa at about 120 miles an hour because he is running from the cops. He had been running from the cops from Tuscaloosa and made it to Talladega. And after Red got onto the interstate, probably 5 miles heading south on I 20, this guy gets pit maneuvered by the cops, goes into the median, ramps up, and lands inside Red's trailer. Like,
Wow.
car in trailer. And if it would have been 10 feet earlier, it would have been ended up inside the RV, killing and would have killed my
Insane.
pop and my nana. But it was like unreal. We drove by and had to stop because there's a car lodged inside that old trailer.
So theoretically, Red stopped a criminal.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
If Red wasn't there,
Crime Buster
that
Red.
dude might have kept on going. We don't know.
Chalk that up to another victory somehow.
I would
Had
say
to-
Red has the greatest luck at times, but the worst luck with trailers. That is the third or fourth Red trailer story that I've heard.
oh, it's bad. It's bad.
so
So,
Wes,
Yeah, I was going to say, let's ask Wes some stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about
No,
Wes.
no. You could
Please.
listen to this all day.
I mean, hell, you haven't even talked about me yet either.
that's true.
There-
um,
There's some
so,
stuff about Maddux we're going to get to in a little bit.
Okay.
so since I started asking the question, Wes, kind of elaborate a little bit on you're kind of a music star per se and a race car driver.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know if I would call it that. I've been in a band for 18 years now. A band called Rush of Fools, and yeah, man, we since I guess late '06 is when we started, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I had a chance to go play college baseball, and had been doing music at church growing up stuff, and had a band. We had a band together, and had the opportunity. I actually went to Hot Rod Fab School, actually in Pelham, VC Tech, back in the day when it was there in Birmingham. And about 6 months into that, we signed a record deal and hit the road. And we've just been kind of doing that ever since. It's been pretty wild, man. I probably wouldn't have been all over the world and seen all the places I've seen and been to if it weren't for the music side of things, which that is just, I don't know. Your chances of making it music are so slim. I mean, it's extremely slim. So we're very grateful for the opportunity, and so I look back kind of at my life, and I go, man, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have met this person, that person, which all of that kind of ultimately led me to be able to, in a long roundabout way, be able to race. And so I was actually on a church staff for a couple of years, helping them out, leading worship, and there's a couple of race car drivers there, old asphalt guys there that racing a guy named Buddy Pitts, who races street stocks down in Montgomery, and now Crown stocks. And I said, well, man, I've always been around cars. My dad and I had a restoration shop for years, mainly classic Fords, F-100s, and Mustangs and stuff like that. And I said, I know my way around cars and tools, just not around race cars. So if you need any help, I'd love to help. I grew up out in Montgomery Motor Speedway, grew up going to, dirt track in Talladega a little bit with my grandpa, and just, man, have always loved short track racing and racing. I guess I never processed that I did. When you grow up around it, you realize, man, some people just don't understand this. They don't get it. They don't go to it. They don't appreciate it. And so, So yeah, I grew up around the at least around Montgomery Speedway and a couple of dirt tracks. And grandpa just watching. And when they said they were going to start up another team, uh, and Buddy's a little older now, man, he's like, yeah, like anybody who tells a race car driver, I'd love to help. You very rarely turn help down. And so, man, that's how I kind of got to learn, about asphalt racing a little bit more and be on the other side of the fence and help out. And after a year or so doing that, I was like, man, I got the bug. I got to get a car. And I probably should have started out in something like a Crown stock or something like a street stock. But no, we had to just jump all in and went and got a late model. And now we have an outlaw as well. And so, man, it's just been about, for me racing, because I started 35 and I'll never be able to get the seat time. Guys like Maddux have grown up and all these other guys I'm around, never be able to have that. Can't catch up with that seat time. So for me, man, it's just about getting to know guys, relationships, and just having a blast at the track, man. I'm having a blast, just learning and trying to get better. And I think for me, a lot of it was I wanted my kids. I've got 4 kids. My wife Michelle, we got 4 kids. I think they're listening and watching from home right now. But I think for me, it was like, hey, I want to kind of show them even later in life, if you got a goal, you got a dream. It's never too late to kind of try for that. And so that hopefully they can see that. If they're facing something one day, they can go, well, hey, Dad took on racing. I could probably do this, So, but man, like anything in motorsports, man, you just cannot do it without people to help you. I mean, help working on other guys' cars. And when I'm not racing, I'm trying to help and pick crew with other cars and learn and stuff. And so there's been a bunch of guys who've helped me with that. Buddy Pitts is one of them. Bill Bethay, who's just got, I don't know how many victories down here around Montgomery. And he has been a tremendous help for me. We race out of the same shop now, and he's in there working on my car with my guys. I'm in my trailer because they're in there right now, being loud. We're doing some stuff to my car since we raced this weekend and stuff. So I came out here to the trailer, and but man, those guys have been so helpful. Jeff Dawkins, Jason Furrow, just Joe Bethay, a bunch of those guys have been very, very helpful to me in trying to just learn how to race. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking about all the connections you made and people that have helped you, get to where you are now. There was one particular driver, JC Kleckler. I mean,
How I left him out.
I was helping crew for him, and I mean that's when I saw you race for the first time.
Yeah.
And so you're running his old outlaw car now, right?
Yes. JC's been a tremendous help as well. And yeah, I remember you tag team with JC, getting down in the pits and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I bought his outlaw from him. All the cars we run out of our shop are Grand American race cars, which are all Augie Grills cars. And so we've got 6 in there now, 3 outlaws, three late models. And yeah, he was getting out of that to just go pro racing. And so I snatched that one up from him. It's a great car. Great car.
So hey, that's kind of. Go ahead, Maddux.
Oh, sorry. Hey, Wes. So, I've only ever made one practice session in asphalt. How does that feel different in the late model versus the outlaw? What driving is different about the driving?
Well, I'll say this. The bodies are obviously different. The bodies are closer to what you guys run. I mean, yeah. if somebody had to make a comparison, they don't know what an outlaw late model is. It's very similar to a dirt without all the contortions and stuff you guys get to do with your body. And so no rear bumper, very angular nose, a lot of aero, a lot of downforce on it. And so they really get pinned down in the corners. Like you can really pin the nose all the way around down in the corners. We just came back from Mobile, and Joe Bethay was down there helping Bill, and this will give you an example of kind of like the difference. And Joe was helping coaching me up some, telling me to change my line a little bit here and there. and he was like, "Hey, I want you to go out. I want you to run 6, 7 laps and never touch the brake. Don't touch the brake at all." And so you drive it off in there, you eat the chip real hard, and it just takes everything out of you, not to even just tap the brake.
Yeah.
In the late models, we can kind of tap the brake, get the nose to go down the center of the corner, and then you just kind of feather a little bit. With these Outlaws, man, like especially at Mobile, you can use zero brake, at least in a practice session. Zero brake, and it just sucks to the ground. It'll go exactly where you want it to go. And so I'm sure there's more to it. That guys know more about it than I do, but that is a big difference. Same chassis. You can take the body off of my late model and put it on the Outlaw. Same chassis, exactly. It's just the bodies are all the difference.
I did not know that they were the same chassis, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. Same chassis.
Yeah, that's something I never understood. I've always tried to sneak peeks into the insides of Outlaw late models, and I always try to figure out are the chassis different, because it never made any sense to me to build a whole new kind of chassis for an Outlaw late model.
Right.
So that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it's a lot in the body. Everything's in the body on those things. The nose and there's no drag down the straightaway with no rear bumper, and that very we use True Force noses on our Outlaws, and so they're just cutting the wind in the corner.
Yeah, so you don't have to tap that brake to get the rear end to come around at all, do you?
And ours, we tap the gas to bring the rear end around. Snap it back around.
Yeah.
So in the center of the corner.
Is that middle off?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, middle off. Yeah.
You just kind of pop it, and we have lockers, and it
we
just
do a lot of that
sets the front end.
Yeah. That's big in dirt. You tap the gas a little bit, middle off if you got to. Spin the tires, just get the car where it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's weird though. People don't typically think that like short tracks really are too aero dependent, but I mean obviously if there's enough of a difference to where you make two completely different kind of bodies for the same chassis for two different divisions, aero's got to be bigger than people think, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'll let Wes answer that.
No. I was just saying, I agree.
So I actually had this problem. I did most of my racing before 2019. So I did a lot of my racing before the technology shot up like crazy in dirt late models. So I never experienced the aero like I do currently. And the last race I was in, I was running third. I was running down the leaders, like just running them back down. I finally got around a guy running them back down, and I've never felt aero play as big of an issue as I did that last race I had at Talladega. Once I got back behind the guys, and we never felt this. This never was any kind of an issue, but I had to run a different line from the people in front of me, because once I got behind somebody and I put my nose underneath them, I lost my entire front end. I had no drive in the car. I had no turn in, and I had to back off so that I can get around them. Used to 5 years ago, you can hug somebody in their bumper all the way around the racetrack, and you never felt it at tracks like Talladega. Yeah, you'd feel it if you went to a half mile, but you wouldn't feel it at Talladega. But now the cars have become so aero dependent, especially the Black Diamond that I currently have. These bodies are so aero manipulated that if you lose one bit of it, you lose the whole car. I had another situation last year at Fort Payne where I'm racing with the leader right there with them. I try to go around the outside, tap the outside wall, and lose a bit of my spoiler. I didn't lose all my spoiler, just the brake off. But once I lost the brake off, I fell back. I couldn't finish within a second of the guy. I lost my entire rear end of my race car. So aero has become huge nowadays.
I mean, even in ours on asphalt, if you can be running directly behind a guy and you can sit there and watch your water temp go up. But if you can just go down half a lane and get half of that, open and get fresher, and it'll immediately cool the car back down. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
Casey Clark says the first mistake he made was going to the outside at Fort Payne.
I know. So that's what they told me. They told me before I showed up. It was my first race there. And they told me, you're going to feel like you can go to the outside. Don't do it. Well, I still tried it. I felt like I could go to the outside. I knew me and the leader had everybody else cleared, so I can take a chance. And I got to his bumper. I got to his quarter panel right here, and went up and hit the wall.
It just be like that sometimes.
It does.
But
It does. Also, I had my girlfriend there at the time, so I had to try to impress her somehow. So,
I guess that didn't work out for you.
no, it didn't. I'm no longer with her.
we can blame you going to the outside at Fort Payne.
Yeah, yeah, we can blame that, I guess.
All because you switched to pre-line.
Oh man, don't switch up your line in the slick, fellas. That's what you need to learn. When it rubbers up, I'm not going to go there. Never mind.
No wonder you lost her.
So,
Clip that.
Wes, I want to ask you something about. Yeah, let's move on. You talked about like the music and everything, and eventually that got you into racing. Here lately, there was kind of a music and racing crossover in Montgomery. You helped with a music video. Tell us a little bit about what all.
Yeah. I have some buddies that are in a band called Carver Commodore, and a couple of them live in Muscle Shoals, a couple in Birmingham, a couple in Gadsden, Fort Payne, or not Gadsden, Fort Payne, Gadsden, Rainbow City, kind of around in that area, and just great dudes. Been on them a long, long time. Watch them kind of come up, and they are just freaking killing it. I mean, their music's incredible. They're putting out a new record, and the guitar player Clayton, good friend of mine, he's played guitar for us a couple times when we needed to fill in. And about a year or so ago, he was out with us for a couple days, and he's like, "Man, you know what would be cool? He's like, it'd be cool if we could shoot a music video with like racing involved." And I said, "Yeah, man, like let's make it happen." And so, a few months back, they started getting serious about it because they had a new record coming out, and so he said, here's what I'm thinking. And Clayton is a very, very, very creative dude. He's a ridiculous guitar player, but he's a very creative guy. And so he kind of help directs all their music videos and writes them. And their music videos are all pretty great. I would recommend watching some of them, or all of them. But he's like, "Hey, listen, we got this idea. Can you make it happen?" And so, we filmed it in Montgomery. I don't know, a couple months back or something like that. And I called Stan, the manager at track, said, "Hey, listen, this is something they want to do, but I'm going to be hands off. I'm just going to make the connection. You guys talk to them." And hit up a couple of drivers. And I thought we'd only have a couple of cars come out. And I think 6 or 7 guys came out on like a Monday, And so guys that love racing. And so they were like, "Yeah, we'll bring our cars. We're coming." And, for them, it's also like, we can get on a track. Let's go, And so, they did this whole thing. They hired an actor named Asa Motes, a young kid. So the music video is based around him. And so I'm the driver. I'm his favorite driver or whatever. And so he comes to the track. He sees that he can sneak across the track. I've been leading this race, and obviously it has to be a fake race for me to even be leading it, which is just the beauty of it all. And so I'm leading this race, and I have trouble, and I fall back. And so he sneaks across kind of after the race and sees me, chewing out the race team. We get into a big fight. Well, the team is the band. This is hilarious. They bought Temu freaking suits or something, and they were like ripping them up, putting patches on them, and they're at the race shop putting oil on them. And so I come into the pits and I get into a shoving match with them, and my car's bad. This is you guys' fault. I turn around, the kid there, he sees the whole thing. He wants an autograph on a picture. I tear his picture in half and I leave. So the team and him devised this plan to get back at me, get back at the driver. And so they sneak into the race shop in the middle of the night and steal the car. They take it to the track, and he rips some laps, at the track under the lights. And so the band is great because the band sets up on the straightaway at the start-finish line. They do some scenes inside of this trailer, which are great. They did some at the shop. And so, the way the video ends is, I come into the shop, and see my jack stands are there, but my car's missing, and so then it obviously alludes to the fact that he's stolen my race car. It's a great video. It was hard to shoot. It was hot. I mean, it was like, we shot from, I think, 3 p.m. on Sunday to 2 a.m. on Monday, and we're back at the track out there at 10 a.m., and then we're there until about 11:30 p.m. doing all the shots and stuff. So shout out to all the drivers. I think it was Jeff Dawkins, Bill Bethay, Perry Patino, Larry Hughes, Bobby Roos. I mean, a bunch of these guys that we raced with down here brought their cars, and I'm grateful. It's not even my music video, but I'm grateful that those guys would take their time and energy and resources to come and do something like that. So especially, kind of put a spotlight on short track racing in any degree. It was great. Yes, opinionator.
How many days shoot?
It was 2. Yeah, it was like half a day on a Sunday, but deep into the night, like 2 a.m. and then all night Monday.
What would you say was the biggest challenge while cars are on track? What's the biggest challenge y'all had?
Well, I would say one of the biggest challenges, it was hot as a mug, and I was in my suit like literally the entire day and night. It was just so hot. But, it was really fun because we had every car had a radio, and every radio was on the same channel, and then Clayton was directing on the radio. And so we'd go and make a couple laps. He's like, okay, I need you to go up a lane west, and everybody was kind of diving in under, and there's cameras all around the cars everywhere. And so I think it was like starting and stopping and starting and stopping and start. You know how it is. You shoot videos or movies or commercials, you're going to do takes over and over and over again. And so it was just like, all right, got to get these cars hot and cool back. And we probably only ran like 60% speed, 70% speed. So
that's what's impressive to me when I watch that video. I got experience doing this. I've been a driver in a movie before, and y'all's footage turned out so much better than the footage that I was in. Like y'all did that's what made my jaw drop when I saw the the music video the first time. I was like, oh shoot, you saw my reaction when I texted you. But I forgot my dad was in that group chat. He had a few words with me afterwards. But but no, that's what impressed me was you said that y'all are 60%. Let's be real here. When you put a bunch of race car drivers on track, are you actually on 60%?
It was tough, man. It was tough because we had to I felt like, once we had to do the drop back thing and I had to drop back, I had to drive the car to get back up to them just to make the scene work. And I'm out here on tires that got 80 laps on them, it is hot and it is sticky. And I'm like, guys, come on, y'all got to slow down. And so it was a great time. And, that the guys that shot the video did an excellent job, the film crew. And I give a lot of credit to Clayton for directing it and what he wanted to see. We put 4 or 5 cameras on my car, and then they put a couple on the back of another car that I'd have to drive behind and kind of get down under. And then they had a couple of drone shots as well that worked out. I was proud of them for doing it. It turned out really well.
Did y'all have any issues pop up from the cars driving slower?
Mm-mm.
So that's something when we did ours,
No.
we had a lot of issues because the cars were going too slow.
Yeah. No, I say once we all kind of got it in third gear or whatever, whatever gear they wanted to be in, and we just kind of we ended up finding a speed and a groove that worked out. I know one time, like I say, we're all on the same radio channel, which is great because we're all competitors, on Saturday nights. But it was so fun to work together. But they would be like, I think Bill was out front at one point, and Perry Patino's like, Bill, slow the frick down, dude. We're trying to get you to slow down, and we're having to back it out. And but man, it was like no complaints from anybody. Like,
were you drivers able to talk to each other?
We were all on the same radio channel, and Clayton was directing everything. It was wild. So I know at one point I had to. I was going to pass Perry Patino on the high side on one corner. He had cameras on the back of him, so we were going for this shot where I was going to pass him, and we go down the back straightaway. And I'm getting right up on him. All of a sudden, he's like, Wes, inside. And so I think that clips in the video where I'm starting to ease up and then I snatch it down to kind of go back underneath him. And it just worked out. I think I think the drivers knew kind of what would look neat. I mean, we even like the one point where I was falling back, I came up too high in the corner, and he wanted shots where we were like door to door, so we had to go up barely just one groove, and we're just door to door, kind of going by one another. Yeah.
So I gotta ask, now that you've been in a not racing environment, but on track environment, and able to talk to other drivers, do you feel like you have a little bit more insight into how other drivers are different from each other and how they treat their radio?
Oh, it's interesting because I think we only really used it to communicate, like when I would fall back, I would be like, okay, guys, we'd come out of turn 2, and I would go down back straightaway, and I'd be like, okay, guys, hey, turn 1, I'm backing out. So we're communicating. Turn 1, I'm backing out, and so they were just on it. Sometimes they wouldn't even say anything. They'd hear it and they would just do it. But yeah, we didn't really do a whole lot of like. I mean, there was some banter that was pretty funny on the radio that probably can't be shared. But yeah, it was. It was. I don't know if I'd say we got insight, but it was so fun.
Because that's what's so fascinating to me is the two-way radio. We don't have that. So
yeah.
When I did my movie things, it was all one-way radio. The only person talking to us was the director, and it's like, I wish we would have been able to say stuff back.
Yeah.
So bad.
Well, it'd be a question of like, hey, was that shot good? No, I need 2 more laps. Okay, go 2 more laps. Okay, hey guys, that's good. Bring it in. We'd come back. They'd look at a little bit of footage, remove cameras, and go back out again. Yeah.
Yeah. I know
My
when they
personal
told
thing-
us 60% speed, we all brought it up to about 80% and ended up being 100%. And then when they had the actor out there in the car, we kind of left them behind at one point because we just started racing each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We got faster as the shoot went on.
Yeah.
But then it's also like we had to be extremely careful because we didn't know if these cameras were going to come flying off of these cars. So they had massive suction cups, and when they started mounting the cameras, up. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
I said, hey guys, I think we need to go without the cameras on this car first. We need to just go with brackets on the car first. And so we did that for a couple laps to make sure those weren't going to fly off before we mounted up $50,000 worth of cameras on race cars. So.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's not $50,000?
This live stream.
What's that?
This Alabama Sweet Tea Company.
Hey!
There we go.
Speaking of our sponsors, Wes,
Alabama Sweet Tea is awesome.
I ordered a lot of it.
I appreciate that, dude.
When am I getting some?
Dude, bring your butt down here, bro.
I am the Grand Inquisitor of the cult of Sweet Tea. Give me some.
You are.
Actually, I think that's red.
I'll bring it up.
Please.
Hey, speaking of Maddux, this is totally off topic. This should probably just be on the text stream of Maddux. You remember a while back I bought that rally helmet and I showed it to you and you were like, hey, if you ever want to get rid of that rally helmet,
am I getting a rally
and I don't
helmet?
need it. It's yours. I don't need it.
Let's go.
It's yours, baby.
I can get a
I'll
rally
mail it to you.
helmet. I've been wanting a rally helmet for so long.
It's yours.
Sick.
Oh.
All he asks in exchange is an Alabama Sweet Tea sticker slapped on the side of it.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. No, I appreciate that love,
I
Steven.
will
Yeah,
chill for Alabama Sweet Tea Company any day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I want to share one story though that we had when we were shooting our movie because you're gonna find it crazy. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Will, and I don't think I've told you guys. Maybe JP's heard the story before, but when we were shooting that movie back in 2017 at the short track, y'all know how dusty Talladega can get at times, especially if it doesn't get watered down. They did not water it this day. It was during the nighttime, which makes it even worse, the story. But someone had the bright idea of putting a golf cart on the track and telling us drivers to crisscross in front of the camera behind the golf cart at speed. They wanted us at speed to crisscross, and they were going to call us, and we were going to be in rows, like kind of like staggered rows, and they were going to call us each row to cross or not cross when we got to turn 4 by the time the camera's on the straightaway and on the front straightaway. And then it got dusty. And I'm in the back. I'm somewhere in the back because it was
Oh, no.
late. It's probably like 3 a.m. I was tired. I didn't want to be there anymore. And by the time I came out of turn 4, I cannot see the front straightaway. And
Oh
they tell
boy.
me to cross, and I don't see the golf cart until I'm
Oh
turning
boy.
off. And we did one pass, and they shut it down. Us drivers, we all stopped without them even telling us to stop because we knew that was the dumbest shit we've ever done. Wild. Still to this day, the craziest driving I've ever had to do in my life. Other than the time they made me spin out without a helmet on. So
That's a
yeah,
little
that was fun
scary.
too.
That sounds
Yeah.
like the
You didn't want to
three-man weave
ride?
at practice.
What?
Sounds like the three-man weave at practice. Somebody's
Yep.
getting hurt.
Sounds
You
like
didn't want to right rear a golf cart?
no, no.
It's only gonna hurt for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's only gonna hurt me. It's not gonna hurt me.
It's gonna hurt the
You're
golf
right.
cart.
Yeah. No, but they had like 4 people on this golf cart, 2 people in the back with the camera. We're crisscrossing, and we just stopped. We're done. I think we ended the night on that because all of his drivers were done with that shot. It was it was
Smart.
just
Smart.
yeah. those
Very
shoots were
smart.
crazy. That was 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. most of those shoots, and we went 2 weeks.
Jeez.
So JP, you and Maddux, obviously you got a little hockey connection here.
Mhm.
This is a Maddux Mullinax UAB hockey jersey.
Yes, it is.
It's authentic.
Game
The
worn.
goat of UAB
Game
hockey.
worn.
Game worn.
Is it
So
signed?
I understand that you recently had a hockey inspired fire suit made.
Yes, I did.
Yes. So sick.
What's the story behind that?
So I'll tell you the story. It all started at Why Not about 2 years ago. I met this lady, Laura Pender, and she's in charge of Sublimited, she's one of the heads of Sublimited, which is a company that makes fire suits and other various just racing gear. And we got to talking, and I was like, man, I'm not in the market now for a fire suit, but I will be eventually. But I want to come up with something that's unique, something that hasn't been done before. And one thing that always appealed to me were those people with the tuxedo fire suits, or what I saw at Why Not that same day, which is somebody wearing a fire suit, like a fireman fire suit. So it's all done up like a fireman. And I just keep seeing these things around, these cool fire suits that people create that look like something else. I was like, I got to do something. And I was actually sitting in the locker room. I was sitting in the locker room at a UAB game, and I think I was browsing like Twitter or something or whatever. But it hit me. I was like, it's got to be hockey. Like I can't not do that because that is what makes me me, which is the 2 sports, hockey and racing. So I got with Laura, and we went, and it was like instant. She set me up with a designer guy. Forgot his name, the guy who designed it. But I gave him, like, I said, hey, I sent him emails like, this is going to sound absolutely nuts, but I want this to be hockey because they're based out of Louisiana. There's like there's 2 ice rinks in Louisiana, and one of them has got sand on it.
1.5 rinks in Louisiana.
Yeah, I've seen both of them. Don't go. I'll just put it that way. But I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to have to explain hockey jerseys to this guy. So I put in a whole explanation, probably like 3 paragraphs of what I want this hockey jersey to look like. And he sends me back as like, brother, I'm a Stars fan. I'm a massive hockey guy. Let's go. I've been waiting to do something like this the entire time
Wow.
I've had this job. So I'm like, this is perfect. So me and him, we had a couple sessions where we just basically cooked over email to figure out what we want. It's like I was like, I gotta have the hockey stripes. He goes, what if I put the pockets in? What if I make the pants a slightly different black than the rest of the jersey so you can tell they're pants? I'm like, hell yeah. So we just cooked for a little bit, and they came out, and I've never had a better fitting fire suit or hockey jersey, to put that way. I've never had a better fitting fire suit or hockey gear. It's perfect.
So
Hey,
you might.
I'll say this because I saw Caden's suit a couple of years ago.
Yes.
That's who I ended up getting my suit was through them because I saw his suit.
The
So
one
I'm
with
wearing
the
the
wheels
same.
in it, right?
Yes, I'm wearing the same brand suit just because I saw his. It's killer, and I love
Well,
mine.
Sublimited is a fantastic company. Like
It's
my
great.
my
It's
first
great.
one was from what is it? Not Alpine. The one that what's the one that Larson wears?
K1.
K1.
K1. Yeah, my first one was a K1, and I let my Nana do my measurements. That was a mistake. I'm not blaming K1 for the fact that this suit fits terribly, and I cannot bend over in this suit. I'm not blaming K1 for that. I'm blaming myself for letting my Nana do those measurements. For this next suit, I went and got like professional measurements taken, and it fit like a glove. It's the best fitting suit I've ever
Yeah.
had in my life. It's amazing.
So you might hate me for what I'm about to say, but why didn't you put a Captain C on your chest?
Because I have to put sponsors. I already had the sponsors I wanted to go there.
Only
So-
the real ones remember the Maddux Mullinax Elliott Sadler jacket back in the day.
Oh, dude, I got it. I got it right here. Hold up. There we go. It's not Elliott Sadler. So here's my old fire suit from back in the
Oh,
day.
baby.
Dude, the Cheez-Its. So I actually met the guy whose suit this is. So this is an Elliott, but it's not the Elliott that you guys know. He's a guy who was he was a crew guy. That's why it's a two-piece, not a one-piece. That's why it's a two-piece suit. But we bought this off of one of those like used gears, like used pro gear thing when I was like 13. I bought it right when I first got into late models, and I bought it because Mark Martin was Kellogg's at the time, and I'm like, yeah, I love Mark Martin. I really
Yes,
love Mark
sir.
Martin, and
Yes, sir.
so I'm like, I'm gonna get the Mark Martin suit, and I bought it. And about 2 years later, I'm at the short, or not 2 years, like 5 years later, I'm at the short track, and it's Talladega weekend, so all the NASCAR guys are over there, and I get like stopped by a dude, and he goes, "Yo, you're wearing my suit." I'm like, "What?" Turn around. He goes, "Yeah," and he pulls out his NASCAR license. It's got his name Elliott on the back. I forgot what his first name is, but he pulled it out, and he's like drunk off his ass, and we were like, "Let's go." We take a picture with each other. I got a selfie somewhere on my phone, but we take a picture with each other. But I'm like, I finally met the man whose suit I have. So
That's wild.
that's the story
is
behind the
wild.
Kellogg suit.
I
That
like
is
the
wild.
I like the blue oval on the other side. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know about
I'm a
that.
I'm a Ford guy, so
wait,
I'm very-
wait,
Me
hold
too,
on.
baby.
You like wait. You're talking about Tony the Tiger, right? You're a big Tony the Tiger guy. Is
well,
that
I
what it
also am a big Tony the Tiger guy,
Yeah.
but I also like Ford.
So,
Hey, Steve, for what it's worth, my son's name is Ford.
Okay,
Just
that
so you know.
okay. All right, that makes me feel better.
I
Yeah.
hate
Why is
to
Tony the Tiger on Cheez-Its?
I have no idea. Kellogg's branding. I have no idea.
I hate to interrupt the flow, but I understand, Wes, you gotta dip on out.
Yeah. So my guys are blowing my phone up, and they're like, "Hey, what are we doing on this? What are we doing on that?" And I need to get them back to their houses. It's almost 8 here, but we're gonna try to not keep them too late. So I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate it. Love you guys, and Maddux, always good hanging out with you, brother.
I love it. Every
Always,
time we get
dude.
to hang out, it's great.
Thank you for coming on,
It's
Wes.
good. Yes, thank you guys for having me. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. So now, since Wes just went, let me swap the screens over and get all the speakers done on the 4-person screen. Right now only me and Steve are on here. So
We're seeing some previous guests and
yeah,
Joey,
Right.
who's not here with us tonight.
the Hudson Bulger episode.
That was the last time we were on. Oh wow, that's been a while ago.
No,
the
last
last
time
time
we
we-
were on
for-
was when Jimmy Renfrew was on, but I think it was only like me, Joey, and him. So let's see. Let's put Maddux up here and save JP for last because JP's not as important. Let's see.
Hey, I
This is
want to
like
brag.
AMP
I
all
do
over
want to
again.
brag
I'm
on
talent
JP
too.
for just a moment. I do want to brag on JP because me and JP for the last 3 hockey games we played together have been line mates on defense, and we did not let up a single goal in all 3 games, despite our team losing 2 of them. So like, even though we got outscored, none of them were our fault.
That is
So to
true. We
explain-
locked it down.
So to explain that in racing terminology, Reed.
We were
I don't.
locked down.
Yeah.
All right.
We were
He
locked
went
down
for the
defense.
slide job and made it. Okay, every time,
We were
but somehow
Yeah.
still didn't win the race.
we
No.
went full Ryan Newman out there. Let's
Yeah.
say that.
Mhm. So back on like the whole the
We're
Birmingham
Perez,
UAB
Minister of
hockey
Defense.
jersey. Like, so not only is the hockey jersey just a cool racing deal. I mean, I feel like it shows off your connection to UAB and Birmingham sports in general.
It
How
does.
big a role does racing you think play in Birmingham sports?
I wish it played a bigger one, which is kind of sad. It's weird. Birmingham, I feel like, is a racing city. It always has been a racing city. I mean, hell, you had Hueytown. Hueytown at one point was the hub of Southern racing. You've had BIR for years. You've got Talladega right up the road, and you've got Barber Motorsports right there. Like, there's so much racing in Birmingham, and you don't get enough. Like, it's when I have never seen any other drivers show up, and they've got Birmingham as their hometown. And dirt racing specifically. Yeah, there's the one guy in Pelham. I know there's a couple dirt racers in Pelham, or in Alabaster, and there used to be a bunch of asphalt racers towards Chelsea. And there's been a lot of great racers from Birmingham, but that's one thing that I like to claim with my team, Mullinax Racing, is like me and Caden. We've never grown up with any other name on our city other than Birmingham. So I feel like we can actually lay the claim of being Birmingham's race team versus other people. Um, and but for the racing culture, there's a really good amount of fans, and I can't tell you how often I hear BIR. The name BIR. Anytime I bring up racing or bring up the fact that I'm a Mullinax or that I'm a good one or Red Farmer, I hear BIR. And BIR, it's a track I grew up with. I grew up at. I miss every day. I curse Larry Langford every day. I wake up and I say, "Curse you, crossplex." That's the first words that come out of my mouth. But I feel like we're missing the track. Yeah, we have Talladega Short Track that's an hour away, and we have Talladega Super Speedway, but that's twice a year. And we have Barbers, but Barbers is IndyCar and sports car and motorcycles. For the actual late models, asphalt or dirt, there's a hole right here just south of Birmingham that isn't being filled at the moment. And Buckshot tried. It opened up, but it's too far away, and it's too small. The pits aren't there yet, and they're trying, but it seems to me like Buckshot is kind of very happy where it's at being a little bit more of a rednecky blue collar racetrack, and we're missing that one track that casual fans can go to that you don't have to live in
Yeah.
Mumford to get to.
Because I feel like going to Montgomery with it being 20 minutes away from the house,
Yeah,
like Augie Grill, Jeremy Williams, any number of guys, they're from Birmingham, and it feels like Montgomery's the default track, except for
for
Sayre.
asphalt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome
but
track.
definitely it's like it sucks that for the level of racing that Montgomery's at with these super late models, and of course that's connected to ASA, that Montgomery's the closest option for these Birmingham guys.
And I didn't mean to leave out Sayre. And I hear that name a lot too, but and Sayre is fond, especially with my family. But Sayre, it's kind of like a Buckshot. It serves the same function that Buckshot serves in the asphalt world. Is that it's a little bit of lower level. You're not gonna run at Sayre and be a big name. You're not gonna run at Sayre and choose it over Montgomery when they have equal races. It's like, so I didn't mean to leave out Sayre there, but yeah, Montgomery is a fantastic racetrack. I love going there. I'm there. I try to go to one race a year, and that's really hard for me to do. I have to usually put stuff off to get to it. But I just feel as if there's something missing, and it's something close to the largest city in Alabama, and it needs to be filled. But the problem is, it's gonna have to be. It has to be something. It can't be a dirt track. It can't be a dirt track that fills that in, and I don't see asphalt building a new track in Alabama anytime soon.
So I mean, you've seen the Birmingham like sports fan engagement
Yeah.
with the hockey stuff. Might be a little different with it being a collegiate sport, but like, what would it take to get that same attention from the city for more racing?
The social media accounts. We're like yeah, we've got you guys, but there isn't much. Like not to be offensive here, but you're not the following on y'all's on like Twitter and stuff like that
Yeah.
isn't that big. I'm big on Twitter. I'm not big, but I'm on Twitter a lot. You know what I mean? And all of the Birmingham sports, like the Birmingham sports site, I can't tell you how many times I've tried to reach out to him. I've got multiple DMs sitting with him. I've got like emails, or I think I sent an email once, but it's like these different accounts that cover Birmingham sports, that cover UAB sports, they none of these accounts cover racing, and there's a lot of damn good racing here. Just last year, Talladega broke the dirt track record for most attended dirt car race for World of Outlaws, which is insane. And it's the best of the best. We're talking about they're having an argument about Kyle Larson and Max Verstappen. Where's the argument that includes some of the short track guys in that? This racing is just as fucking hard. Sorry to cuss on there, but this racing is just as hard. It's just as competitive. And unlike like the Chili Bowl is the hardest race in the world to win. And we have drivers that run that and run at Talladega Short Track. We have professionals that are the masters of their craft just as much as anybody else at these short tracks, and we're not getting any talk on it on social media. The only time I see it, and I follow a lot of the Twitter accounts, the only time we see it on places like Twitter or X or whatever it's called is on the actual post from World of Outlaws, and it's nothing. But the Birmingham sports scene, it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, it's not on Facebook. And the whole racing scene is on Facebook. That's what needs to change. We need to modernize and swap from Facebook with all the boomers and get with the people who are paying attention. And it starts, and I'm going to call it out. It starts with getting that account, Birmingham Sports. If we're going to talk about Birmingham specifically, it starts with getting this guy to a race. You get these people to any race, it changes their whole outlook. Wes just talked about it. Anybody you take to a race, it changes their outlook. I can't tell you how many friends I brought to a race for the first time. I got one guy. I was in one class with him, and I took him to a race at Talladega, and he texts me every single year if I'm there for the Ice Bowl. He never misses an Ice Bowl. He never misses a big race at Talladega. I get texts from this. I get one or two texts from him a year, and it's whether or not I'm going to be at Talladega the day of that big race. They're up. They love it. It's the most entertaining racing in the world, and no one's seeing it outside of Facebook and paid live streams.
So highlighting the Birmingham athletes, me, Reed, and JP were at Sari this weekend, and
Birmingham athlete JP.
Yes, yes. There was 16, 17 NASCAR Hall of Famers just from the Birmingham area.
Yes,
was that the final count?
It's something like that. It's a lot.
It's ridiculous.
A lot. People don't realize how integral Birmingham was for a while, especially in the heart of the Alabama and the prime time of the Alabama gang. When you had Hueytown, you drive through Hueytown. You take one drive through Hueytown, and every single shop you see on that main road had a race car in it at some point. I can drive by with my dad, and he points at 4 or 5 different shops that had race cars. You go to downtown Birmingham, and I just hear, oh, yeah, we had an engine built there. My car was there. We had another thing built right there. You go to Leeds. I can point to you 6 shops in Leeds in which race cars were built out of. It's wild how much racing there has been here and how it deserves a lot more, and it should be more up. Because if you want to talk about the major league sports in Birmingham and the closest we get to the major leagues, it's Talladega Short Track. That's the closest you're going to get to the major leagues without being in the majors. I mean,
but I do agree with your point about, it's on us to a certain extent for focusing on
Yeah.
Facebook and some things, maybe not as much Twitter or Instagram, but those are the venues, those are the avenues
is.
needed to modernize it and get the younger, like the 18 to 24 crowd you always hear people talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, to get that crowd, you need to be on X, Twitter,
What you need
Instagram.
to do, what it's going to take is to get somebody. Was it Icy Vert? Just recently did this on Twitter.
Yep.
It's going to take somebody who isn't in the racing scene to get into the racing scene. Us, we're doing everything we can do, and we're only going to be able to do everything we can do. It's going to take
And
somebody who isn't in racing to convert. You're not going to find new. You have to convert new.
Well, that kind of brings up the point of Lanier, Cafe Octane Lanier. T-Pain, he comes up there all the time.
Yeah.
And he's brought a massive crowd with him at Lanier for the drift events. I'm talking, this is a packed house. I haven't seen that many people at Lanier since Saturday night street races or street stock races.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to see the amount of people that will come out just to see that one guy. So maybe we get T-Pain to a short track?
Let's try it.
That's like, Matt Weaver. I remember a conversation a couple guys and I were having with him about how short track racing is insular. We are not open, We how do I say it? We cater to short track racing fans, right? That's our base. We're not catering to other fans that could, be drawn in, but it's going to take something to bring them in.
Yeah, that's why it's not this. That's why I'm not talking about you guys specifically, because we have to have those media outlets that cater to these short track fans. It's like the same thing that would happen with movies. Once you make something for everybody, it becomes for nobody, right? You have to have that insular, that inner bead. Look at Formula One YouTube. Formula One YouTube is the best at this. Formula One YouTube has like 2 tiers of YouTube videos. They have the ones to draw people in, and then they have the channels that are there, like the race. That channel, that's for people who are already Formula One fans. But then you have other people and other channels that get you to that level. You guys are the race. You guys are the ones who are for the fans. What we need is those entry level videos, those entry level channels to get people to funnel them into you. That's what we need.
So when it comes to racing specifically, especially like Birmingham, everything else continued to build and build and build. Hockey, UAB football, Birmingham Stallions, USFL, that was all based in Birmingham. Sports are growing in Birmingham, right? It just feels like, was it specifically BIR getting torn down? Was it specifically?
No, it wasn't that.
Like, what's stunting the growth of racing specifically in this area? Why can't it grow?
Because I feel as if we are a sport that is fighting for our lives. Racing is a paradox. At one point, at the same time, we're at the highest heights we've ever been, and we're at the not the darkest depths, but the most danger we've ever been as a sport. I feel like at any moment, as a late model guy, I feel as if in any moment this year could be our last year. Just with the fact that the consumer cars are changing so much right now. They are, in California in 10 years, you're not going to be able to sell a gas-powered car? What's that going to do to the racing scene out there, to the late model and dirt late model scene out there? We don't have electric late models, and we probably won't have electric late models, even though we should. Honestly, I've thought about trying to do something with that and put an electric car on a dirt track, because you're going to have to go with the times. Mm-hmm. I don't want to. I don't want that, but it's going to take something like that to keep the sport going.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Tesla, what is it? The top end, the Plaid or whatever?
Yeah.
Ripping around a dirt track would actually be pretty cool to watch.
Hell,
no sound, but it would
you don't know how close
cool
you don't know how close I've been to doing that. Like, My
And
parents have a plaid. I've tried, but those things are unreal.
Imagine the
I've never
plaid
been
class
thrown
being
to.
the most expensive class at a dirt track.
Oh, dude, Tesla
Move
class.
over late models. You got the plaid class coming in.
That sounds like some Weaver Valley shit.
and
No, but all right.
but
So I want to talk about Hunt the Front for just a moment. Hunt the Front has done amazing things for our sport. Those guys, the joiners, have done tremendous stuff. They've risen our sport so much. Yeah, Lucas Oil, World of Outlaws were always right up top. But what Hunt the Front did is they took the bottom classes. They took the regional series and pulled them right up there with them, with media, with everything. But here's the problem: the only people who know about Hunt the Front are people who are already dirt fans, and that's the problem we keep running into.
exactly.
Everything that we keep doing in the dirt world, in the racing world, in the asphalt especially, no one cares. Like, less and less people are caring about asphalt by the day, and that's tragic. I hate it. I hate that. But we don't have those avenues to get people back into the sport or get into the sport for the first time. And that's what I feel like we're lacking it. Yeah, we've pulled in more money than ever. Yeah, we're racing for more money than ever. Yes, Formula One just rose all ships with a rising tide with Drive to Survive. But Drive to Survive ain't gonna last forever. Formula One hype is already going back down. IndyCar, sure, they signed with Fox, but I think Fox made a bad deal on it. And everybody's missing the best racing there is. And I just feel like with cars going downhill, I think the car market is not going to be good in the future. I think the switch to electric cars, and where cars are a rented thing and not a bought thing, no one is going to care about cars anymore. No one's going to grow up working on a car. No one's going to want to drive a car because the car drives itself. Why would I care about people who drive cars when the cars drive themselves? And that's the threats that I'm seeing at racing, and that's why I'm so, I guess you can call black-pilled on the future of my sport. And I love this sport, and I want to see it keep going. And I have no idea whether or not that answered your question, but I just went on rambling.
Well,
I guess you could call me a
what you
politician.
did do is you drew my attention to back at PRI last year. It was the second year that they showed it. Somebody, I don't know the group, they've debuted an electric late model, right?
Yes,
They
I
started
saw that.
showing that off the last couple of years.
It was
But
asphalt, right?
we're yeah. But
Yeah.
if you look at consumer electric vehicles, we're a good decade into the hype of electric vehicles, and it's still not feasible. So the fact that they're just now rolling out this prototype for a electric late model, I mean, by the time that this becomes feasible, who's to say that there's going to be a market for that?
Don't get me wrong. I think alternative fuels are the future. Like, I really do. I think those fuels, those net zero fuels, that's the route we should be taking with cars. I can't stand the electric car hype because of the lobbyists who only want electric cars in the future. I can't stand that. We should have a balanced, diverse market of cars in the future. But right now, it's not I'm not looking at what's going to be practical, what I think is going to be the best. I'm looking at how the legislation is moving and how the politicians are moving. Because it doesn't matter whether or not it's feasible. Politicians do all the time stupid shit that isn't feasible. And that's what's got me worried. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, it absolutely does. So, and let me think about how I want to word this. And if JP, you or Steve can think of something else before I come up with how I want to word it, feel free to jump into the conversation so we don't have just a bunch of silence. I'm pondering for a second.
Okay, so since you're pondering for a second, JP, do you have anything you'd like to add on top of what Maddux has been talking about?
Yes. I would like to say that I believe Birmingham is within the top 5 markets in the U.S. for NASCAR racing. I think it's Charlotte, then Greensboro, or somewhere like that, Birmingham's usually in that 3 to 5 market. Talladega comes around. But I
Yeah.
also believe that comes into what happens with IndyCar and the Indy 500, where you'll have 500,000 people in the Indy 500, and then you may have 500,000 people for the other 16 odd races that they have.
You also have to remember Birmingham is a top market in every sport. And it's a top market. We love sports here. Everyone loves sports here. Everybody watches A Sports. But also, you know it. You're from here. Talladega is an event. The super speedway, most of the people there, the vast majority of the people there don't watch NASCAR. They just watch Talladega. They go for the party. I know you do. I've seen it. I see the snaps.
The Boulevard has been kind to JP over the years.
Yeah, you've been in there involved a couple times, Maddux.
I know the snaps. I've got.
North Park is not his best friend.
Hold on, no, I know the snap.
There's a couple of them.
Is it the one I'm thinking of?
Probably.
Probably.
Does it involve a couch?
It involves a pole.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
That is it, yep.
I've seen that one plenty of times.
Oh yeah, no, it gets reshared every year.
So
that's how I know it's Dega time. Oh man, there's this.
I finally figured out the wording of my question. So
All right.
back at Chicago, NASCAR kind of showed off the electric, like hatchback looking car. I mean, would it take would a national level motorsport going full electric, not just like Formula E, but NASCAR, IndyCar, one of these big established series switching to electric, is that going to do anything for short track racing to follow suit?
I don't know. I do not know. I feel as if I'm afraid of legislation more than I am of fans. I'm afraid that property people are going to take away our racetracks because they're too loud. I'm afraid that the wild left-wing communists are going to take away our gas-powered cars. I am afraid of, and these opinions that I'm about to express, like these come from genuine. This is all genuine fear. This isn't rational thought, really. This is just fear for me. This is what I'm afraid of, and that's why I feel as if we have to have some kind of electric alternative, not to be the premier racing, not to switch all of our racing to electric, but instead to kind of be a both an olive branch to show that we are advancing. We aren't stuck with cars from the 1980s, but also show off our technology. A lot of people don't realize that a dirt late model, an asphalt late model, it's the peak of technology in our field. There's incredible technology that goes into these race cars, but they're still running carburetor engines, body styles from the 1980s, and rear ends that look like they came out of a 1970s Chevy, to an untrained eye. These cars are stuck in a rule set made in the 1980s. At least the dirt late model is, and I feel as if a creation. I don't even think a series would be necessary, but instead somebody to take the challenge to create a very high tech looking electric dirt car that can be shown off, that can have a viral video or something like that, and maybe do exhibition races against a gas powered late model. Something to show the technology, to show off what we can do as short track drivers, and that we're not a bunch of rednecks in a field, but instead we are masters of our craft, high tech engineers and fabricators who are clued in and are every much as worthy as the top NASCAR guys to claim a top spot on the podium of racing.
Now, well, absolutely yes, but how? And I'm going to quote a asphalt super late model driver here, Billy Van Meter. I was talking with him. Me and Dan Vining were talking with him at Anderson for the ASA race, and the topic was brought up then, just about how the discipline is expensive, right? It's
Yes.
already very very expensive, and when it comes to racing, the cost of racing is never going to decrease because everything that's cutting you see on a race car somewhere. So how when you have like these electric, prototype cars that are being shown off at exhibitions, how how could that be feasible for the short track racer to switch to?
It's not. That's not the point. That wouldn't be the point. I wouldn't want. Let me be clear. I don't want a weekly electric racing series. I don't want electric race cars. I don't like, or I like the novelty and I like everywhere, but I don't like the idea of everything turning electric. I like our noise. I like the ICE. Also, somebody is echoing, and it's getting a little worse. So, I like the ICE, and I think. Let me think about this for a second. But I feel like if we had a dirt version of it, this doesn't sound crazy, but I feel like if we had a dirt version of Formula One, something that only the big boys can handle it. And it's a different rule set. They can look like late models in some ways, but it's a different rule set. The thing that drove the cost up so much with dirt racing, I feel like, is the fact that a World of Outlaws same rules as a car, and that means that you're competing against the big guys whenever they come to town, and you have to be good or you're gonna miss, and you have to spend that money or you're gonna miss. If we split off, if we were to theoretically come up with an electric series, it would have to be by a completely different rule set that doesn't share very many parts with the late model, so that only the big boys can, only the biggest of the big boys can compete in it. It would not be something for the locals. It would absolutely not be something for the locals. It would only be something for the big boys, and you'd have to pay big dollars for it. It'd be difficult. It'd be very, very difficult, which is why I don't want a series based off of it. I say you just do you build a few different people build some cars to do exhibitions and to show it off.
So you would say, like, specifically, like, hypothetical, an FIA sanctioned 410 sprint race is what you're saying, but
Sort of.
not 410, but 410 is in its own world.
Yeah. Something that is its own world. I don't know what the car would look like. I don't know if it'd be a sprint car or a late model, but I'm just saying. I know for a fact there's some boys that are funding some of these teams that they don't care what you spend. Like, they absolutely don't care what you spend. There's some guys who do have the budgets to do this kind of stuff, and there's some engineers that would absolutely love to work on it. I know one right now who would love to work on something like this. And I guess my biggest gripe would be I want a way that we can show off that this form of racing deserves respect on an international level. Because we're the super late models, the Lucas Oil in the World of Outlaws, that's the top dog. You go there to end, like, that is your career goal. That isn't a stepping stone to NASCAR. That is your career goal if you're a dirt racer. That is your NASCAR. And I feel like a lot of those drivers need to be put in the same respect as a lot of these other guys. And I mean, hell, if you put me in a cup car at Talladega on a show, I feel like I'd have a better chance being one of the 40 out of 41 cars to show up to the race than I have a chance to put me in my own dirt car and make a field out of 60. These shows are hard to make. They're very difficult. They're very difficult races. We're about to see one of the most difficult races in the world coming up in Eldora. These are not jokes. These are not like stuff you do on a weekend. Look at the tire budgets. I went to the shop in Leeds with Spencer Hughes. They're out there 2 days or like weeks before they ran somebody else's car in Mississippi the night before because they have to prep their cars. They have to bring 2 cars, fill their entire truck up with brand new tires, every one of them cut, everything, and wrapped, ground and wrapped. Had to have been about 50 tires in that trailer for one race.
I mean, budget wise, that's what, $2,000 a set, if not more.
Yeah.
It's something. Let's see, a set is about $1,200 right now. I think a set of 4, because it's $235 a Hoosier tire. But if you want to be real, if you try to buy a brand new Hoosier tire off of me, I ain't selling it to you for less than $300 because it takes a lot of labor.
Mm-hmm.
It takes you 2 hours to get a right rear done, the way that I want it done, and the way I want it done is different from everybody else. Because we all have our own theories. We all put in our own scientific thought, our own engineering thought into how a tire's cut. Because we look at heat maps, and we look at temperature gauges, and we look at how the tire's wearing. We're spying on each other every day to figure out the tires. This isn't mom and pop's racing anymore. This is the big deal. And I don't want to take anything away from NASCAR. They got hundreds of people working for them, massive engineers, incredibly smart people. But driver-wise, I don't think there's as much of a difference as people believe. I think people like Davenport or Brandon Overton. They're just as good as the best. They're some of the best in the world. When I describe these drivers, I know that Dirt on Dirt has the top 25 rankings. When I describe them, when I tell people this, I say it has the top 25 in the world. This is top 25 dirt racers in the world. This isn't in the country. You're in the best country of dirt racing. There's 3 countries that compete in dirt racing. You're looking at the best. And you're looking at the peak of their sport. And anybody who's the peak of their sport deserves recognition.
Where would you put a guy like Tyler Reddick, who's the Cup Regular Series champion, who is a former late model driver? Where would you put him in
Reddick's a damn good driver. I've seen him race late models. Oh, world-wise?
Yeah, world-wise. Where would you put Reddick against Brendan Overton and Davenport?
In a late model, I think I'm still at this moment. I think I'd take Davenport. I'd take Reddick over Overton though. But I think I'd take Davenport just because he's in it every single week.
Mm-hmm.
But you take people like Larson, or like the whole conversation right now about Larson and Verstappen. I saw the first time I saw Larson live in a late model, it convinced me that what he did out of turn 2 at Talladega that one time, when I watched him, I've never seen. I've been at Talladega Short Track my whole life. I've never seen someone drive that corner like that.
Yeah, I asked you where that line's been the entire time.
Yeah, I think you were next to me when that happened. Yeah, during that heat race, it was like I've never seen that. I've never seen someone come off the wall that way. And this is a late model driver. Yeah, he runs NASCAR. Yeah, he's the best. He's leading NASCAR points.
He's
but he's
a
a late
sprint
model
car driver. He's a sprint car driver.
Well, you still same thing.
He started racing late models, what, 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, but this is the same issue. You put Larson in a late model, he wins, but he's going to get beat by Davenport. He's gonna get beat by Bronson. He's gonna get beat by everybody else. Brandon Shepard. He's gonna get beat by Mike Marlar. Like he's gonna win a lot, but so are those other guys.
So since we're talking about dirt, what about Seawright? Where do you think he's gonna beat out Overton in the hunt the front?
No,
this year.
Well, not only. I think Overton's got too much of a lead, and I love Seawright.
He's only got 68. It's a 68-point difference.
Yeah, but Seawright's either first or last, buddy. Seawright's got too much Bobby in him. Seawright can't win champion. I love him. I love Seawright. I'm gonna go see him next, in a few days. I love Seawright. I talk to him all the time, but he's first or last. He's going to win the race or he's going to wreck trying. And
I think
I respect the hell out of him, though. I get a lot of my philosophy when it comes to working on cars comes from him. So I don't want to sound like I'm being mean, but I don't think he's going to get the championship.
no, he gives me the Ricky Bobby vibes of he first or
he's
last. Like
100%.
he,
Well, I mean,
I've seen him at two ice bowls now. Both times, he wrecked, and then saw him at Sonoy a couple weeks ago with Steve and JP battling for the lead, wrecked out. And then other times he's won.
Oh, he's a damn good. He's damn good. He's damn good.
Was it 14 races this year, 2 wins, like 10 or 15 top 10s, something like that?
Yeah.
It's 10 top 10s and 5 top 5s. That's what it is.
Yeah, but every not top 10 he had was basically in the back.
Yeah, it was a DNF.
Well, heck, I've never seen someone have as bad luck at Duck River as Seawright has. Every time he shows up at Duck River, he has terrible luck. I saw his hood. I've never seen it in a dirt car before, but his hood came up. And not even because the pins came out, but the freaking bars that the pins were in broke. And it flopped up like that right in front of Cade and about wrecked us out of the race.
Speaking of Caden,
yeah.
So as, older brother, more of a mentor figure, how would you rate his rookie season in Hunt the Front so far?
Caden has done immensely better than the point show. And he has done way better than the results showed. Like I said, the first half of the Hunt the Front season was the most brutal thing we've ever tried as a race team. And that goes back into my dad's years. We're talking about 60 cars showing up at Talladega, which we started 13th, or started 16th or what. We won our B main, running 11th when he gets put into the freaking wall by that number. Was it Ethan Dotson? Who's running the one car then? Who's running the one car then?
Was it the 1C?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, Ethan Dotson put Caden up in the wall, driving like a mad lad, and Caden goes from 11th to 22nd in one lap. And because it was on a restart, and that's the end of his race. Talladega locked down, you couldn't pass. And then we show up and go to a track we've never been to before. And we're in a brand new car that we have not ran. We have not ran this car before. And it turns out this car was awful. We've already gotten rid of it because it was like, it didn't work for us. It was too tight. It didn't do what we wanted it to do. We could never find the setup. And at All Tech, it was about as bad as you can get. And Caden did a great job in the second feature to just compete. And then we show up at Swainsboro, still trying to figure this car out. Doesn't work the first night. Second night, he does well. He wins his B main again. Runs really well. And every race, he's getting better. Every race is we're as a team getting better. But at the very beginning, we were battling a lot of car issues and a lot of car setup issues. And it didn't show Caden's abilities. But these last few races in which he's running with Hunt the Front guys, he's running 9th in Lancaster. He's running 9th in Lake Cumberland until our 5th coil shock gives out. It literally exploded under the car, oil going over everything, and we dropped back to the back. It's the worst luck we've ever had. So for Caden to be sitting 10th in the points is a miracle, and he's doing a fantastic job driving the race car and keeping it out of trouble. The only trouble he's given us is Lake Cumberland, in which he took the spoiler off, and we didn't have an extra T-bar for the rear end because we just switched cars and we don't have the parts for it yet. So
if I could be wrong here, but how many races has he run? Last time I checked, I thought it was 12. He hasn't run all the races this year, right? Or has he run every single one of them?
We got points for all of them. We got perfect attendance. The only ones that we didn't show up to, the only one that we didn't show up to was one of the North Carolina ones. It was, I forgot what it's called. I forgot Ultimate Speedway.
Okay, so
our RV decided it didn't want a transmission anymore when we were leaving Smoky Mountain, and literally spat it out onto the road.
Ooh.
and we had it towed. We had a tractor, an actual just regular tractor, because we were by farmland, tow us to the nearest gas station, in which that RV sat for a week, and they were going to charge us $10,000 to get that thing back.
Ooh.
So it took us a while to get that RV back and get back up there and fix it ourselves, which is why we weren't at Ultimate that year or that week.
So last time I checked, he's at 762 points.
Yeah.
The next rookie is sitting in 8th place. That's Jackson
I
Highs.
know.
And he's sitting at 848.
I know.
So he's not that far off. And
we're not that far off. We have a chance. See, we have a chance, but it's going to be difficult.
So, well, let's see. What's the upcoming? Livonia, which is up near me, is the next event. That's next Saturday. I don't know what his record is at Livonia. Has he ever run at Livonia?
I've never seen.
Okay,
I
don't think Highs has ever been there either. So, I mean, Livonia is a tricky track.
Yeah.
Livonia used to be very, very dusty. I can't remember the owner's name, but a new owner just came in this season, and oh my God, the racing has improved tenfold. I mean, you've got multiple lines. You've got 3 lines. Usually at a dirt track, you've only got 2 lines.
Yeah.
So there is a low, middle, and a high. I've been seeing a lot of guys run kind of in the middle, on the upper side of the middle, and they just stick it, and it's great to watch. So that race is coming up next Saturday, and then after that, I'm sorry.
How are the pits?
The pits, they're pretty nice. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it's paved in the pits for the most part.
Be better than Lake Cumberland's pits.
It does get kind of dusty. That's the only complaint I have. But massive pits too.
Yeah.
Even the outside pit's massive. And then because there's 2 different places for the outside pit. There's like in turn 4 is the entry to the far side pits instead of the inside pits, and the pit is about half the size of the parking lot. And it's nice. It's grass, but it's nice. But after that, you guys go to home track at Dega. You feeling good? You guys feeling good about that?
Yeah, I am. And I'm pissed at one of my best friends because he planned his wedding on that weekend, so I actually won't be there at Dega. One of my best friends goes, "Oh yeah, I've got a wedding in early October." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then 2 weeks ago, he goes, he reminds me, "By the way, that wedding that I've got you in, that you need to be there at, because we've been friends for 10 years, or 10 odd years, best friends. Like, it's October 5th that weekend or whatever." And I looked at my phone. I was like, "Oh fuck! Oh damn!"
You gotta let me crew chief.
I will not be at Dega, sadly, but my dad and brother will be there, and we probably will have somebody else helping us out. But
give me some spotter sticks.
No, you're not. No, no.
Too bad.
No, absolutely not.
He's close.
While he's half a car length that way.
Yeah, Kane's gonna call me up. Like, why'd you make this autism guy do my spotting for me? What is this about? He started signaling the wrong car.
South Alabama education.
I wanted the guy in front.
Yeah. So, but
why is he telling Overton where to go?
Yeah. I don't know if I told that story last time, but I got a really good spotter stick story I need to tell you guys in a second. But no, I'm confident for Dega. I'm really confident for I-75. I'm really confident for these races because the back end of the schedule, Talladega, I-75 are tracks that we know well, and Caden's good at, and we're good at. So I'm confident for those. It's just I think the 86 point gap is a little too much, and it sucks that we only pulled 2 points in on them at Camberland because we were about to pull in 20 points, but our freaking shock gave out, and that's been our luck all year. But no, Caden's done great. I'm super proud of him. I couldn't be more proud of him. I'm a little pissed at him because he's doing so well, and now I probably won't be the top driver at Mullinax Racing until he gets out of there. So please, if you're a big team and you need a driver that's up and comer, take Caden. Get him out of my shop. I want my race cars back. Take him.
Just drop a pro gamer word and he'll go to Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh yeah, that's what we need to happen.
I like how Steve's out here like texting me off to the side. It's like, man, I hope we don't get canned for this. And here you are.
Get canned. Wait, hold on.
I didn't say the
what am
word.
what am I gonna say that gets us canned that JP hasn't?
That's
I
actually
know
That
this
is
guy.
very true.
That's very valid.
I know this guy.
JP's like, I don't know what it did.
I don't know. Was it the Dana Beers interview I did that did it for us?
I don't know. That was
Probably.
glorious. That was wonderful.
Oh,
Max, I
man.
don't think I told you that story, but I did
No,
an
I don't
interview
know
with
it.
Dana Beers at the Indy 500. And of course, the guy who interviewed him before me was the guy from the Zach Bryan song. Overtime, that intro.
Yeah.
We're going
interviewed-
real fast and real.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah, I interviewed him like 15 minutes before him.
You did tell me that. You did tell me that you saw him. Going
What could have
real
been.
fast and real left. You don't know how many non-racing friends I have send me that video. I'm sure you all had that too, but
I still can't believe JP was 15 minutes away from being in a Zach Bryan song.
I don't know
yeah.
if that's a compliment or an insult.
I know, right?
Yes.
You go- Depending on your take on Zach Bryan, but more things I'll say that'll get us
Well,
canned.
Hold on, we
Yeah,
didn't we just
I'll-
have all that
I'll be the one to
conversation
can
about
you if you talk bad on
about
Zach
another
Bryan.
singer in that kind of field?
Do what?
Was
Yeah,
it?
we missed having Wes for
Never
that part.
mind. Never mind. Never mind.
I went totally over my head. One, because the audio cut out, but that's fine.
Oh, okay.
You can
Don't
text
worry.
it to us.
Yeah, I'll text it to you. Dude. Yeah, don't worry. But
Well,
oh, what you got? You about to end it?
Yeah,
yeah.
we've been
Ah,
going
damn.
on for
We've
a
been at
little
this
over
for
an
a
hour and a
couple.
half.
I want to tell my signal six story though. It's one of
Okay.
the best racing stories I got. So, y'all know how the signal six work, and if anybody didn't work who isn't watching, and dirt racing, you don't have any radios. You don't have a two-way radio. You have signal sticks, in which you throw sticks out onto the track to let somebody know, let your driver know. Now, the problem with signal sticks is that other people can see your signal sticks, so you have to be discreet about it. And the most common sign is just how far somebody is. If the signal sticks are close together, then they're really close. If they're far apart, then it's pretty understandable. Now I'm racing. There's this girl. What's this lady's name? She used to race. She used to carry 2 dirt cars to the track every weekend. About 3 years ago, she retired from Georgia. Dang good racer. Had bad buggies on the front of her car. I forgot her name. Sarah.
Ah, crap.
You know who
I know
I'm
who you're
talking
talking
about now,
about.
don't you? She
I know who
always
you're talking
carried 2
about.
cars, and her boyfriend raced too. Her boyfriend raced crates. Now, I was running crates at Talladega. She was racing the super race. Her boyfriend was running the crate race. And the crate race was right after the super race. So I think what happened was, after the super race, she pulled into the infield or something, and and got ready to start spotting for her boyfriend, who was started in the back because he had an issue that night. I'm running mid-pack, probably like 6th, 7th or something like that, a little bit towards the front. And I feel like I'm doing good, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm just kind of sitting still in the pack. Little do I know is that her boyfriend's coming up and coming up and coming up and getting closer and getting closer and getting closer. And let me tell you, this girl, she decides that right in front of me, entering turn 3, I remember this like it's yesterday, decides to start throwing the signals for her boyfriend behind me. And she's got her fire suit wrapped around her waist with a little t-shirt on. And this girl's already a 10 out of 10. And she decides to lean over like that and give signal sticks. And my head in the race car goes, oh, shoot. My head goes, well, you look at that. And woo, right on my outside, her boyfriend passes me because I overshoot the corner. So
Distraction techniques.
oh yeah, it's 100% a distraction. He goes by, and I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? Can't control the instincts. So there's my signal 6 story. I love that story.
Oh no, I lost audio.
Oh no.
Well, but anyways, thanks for coming on, man. Really enjoyed it. It's been a while since we did one of these, and I'm really glad that we had some pretty good guests to welcome us back.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back in a routine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And well, I guess thanks everybody for watching. We had pretty good viewership tonight. A lot of pretty good comments, and anyways, we'll be back doing this hopefully not too long from now, and we'll see you later.